Now, we are engaged in a great civil war, testing whether that nation or any nation so conceived and so dedicated can long endure. We are ready on the great battlefield of that war, and we have come to dedicate a portion of that field as a final resting place for those who have gave their lives so that this nation might live. It is altogether fitting and proper that we should do this. But, in a larger sense, we cannot dedicate, we cannot consecrate, we cannot hallow this ground. The brave men, living and dead, who struggled here have consecrated far beyond our, far beyond our poor power to add or detract, something like that. The world will little know nor long remember what we say here, but it can never forget what they did here. It is for us, the living, rather, to be dedicated here to the unfinished work for which they who fought here have thus far so nobly advanced. It is, It is rather for us to be here dedicated to the great task remaining before us, that these honored dead we take increased devotion to that cause for which they gave the last full measure of devotion. That we here highly resolve that these dead shall not have died in vain, and this nation under God shall have a new birth of freedom, and that government of the people, by the people, and for the people shall not perish from this earth. I yield to Senator Mark Eagle.
Good speech, but make sure when you're even during I assume that was a filibuster, but in that you should make your speech still related to the topic at hand. So even in historical filibusters in the Senate, they're still about the topic itself. So make sure the filibuster works and it also is related to the topic. All right, keep going.
The history of all capitalistic society is the history of class struggles. Freeman and slave, patrician and plebeian, lord and serf, guildmaster and journeyman, in a word, oppressor and oppressed, stood in constant opposition to one another, carried on an uninterrupted, non-hidden, now open fight. A fight that each time ended, either in revolutionary reconstitution of society at large, or in the common ruin of contending classes. In the earlier epochs of history, we find almost everywhere a complicated arrangement of society into various orders. A manifold grad of social rank. In ancient Rome, we have patricians, knights, plebeians, slaves. In the Middle Ages, feudal lords, vassals. I just read the same thing over and over. Oops. The modern bourgeois society that has sprouted from the ruins of feudal society has not done away with class antagonisms. It has been established new classes, new conditions of oppression, new forms of struggle in place of the old ones. Our epoch, the epoch of the bourgeoisie, possesses, however, this distinct feature. It has simplified class antagonisms. Society as a whole is more and more splitting up into two great hostile camps and two great classes directly facing each other. Bourgeoisie and proletariat. From the serfs of the Middle Ages, spring the chartered burghers of the... So, the discovery of America, the rounding of the Cape, opened up fresh ground for the rising colonies, the increase in the means of exchange, and in commodities generally gave to commerce, to navigation, to industry, an impulse never before known, and thereby to the revolutionary element in the tottering feudal society of rapid development. a feudal system of industry in which industrial production was monopolized. I yield the senator Feingold.
Like I said, I am very sorry about this.
Okay, guys, let's start our history lecture. Senators, let's learn about the Pig War of 1859. So the Pig War was a confrontation in 1859 between the United States and the United Kingdom over the British and US border in the San Juan Islands, between Vancouver Islands and the state of Washington. The Pig War, so called because it was triggered by shooting of a pig, is also called the Pig Episode, the Pig and Potato War, the San Juan Boundary Dispute, and the Northwestern Boundary Dispute. Let's go to the background of it. So the Treaty of June 15, 1846 resolved that the boundary dispute by dividing the counties of Columbia District between the United States and Britain along the 49th parallel of north latitude to the middle of the channel, which separates the continent from Vancouver Islands. However, there are actually two straits that could be called in the middle of the channel. In 1846, there was still some
Relate to gun control right now, or else. Relate to gun control now.
Gun control. I think that the reason gun control is a really serious topic. We should control our guns. As you can see, the Republicans, they want the American people. No, not the Republicans. Mitch McConnell wants the American people to die. He wants everyone to have like 50 cal snipers and shoot down wolves and everything. Okay, do I still have to keep going about this? Keep going. Okay. Well, let's talk about the gun control, alright? Let's pull up some stuff here. So let's talk about the First Amendment first. The First Amendment provides several rights protections to express ideas through speech and the press. It allows us to assemble or gather with a group to protest for other reasons. Right now, we're protesting against Mitch McConnell because he wants people to die. Mitch McConnell, as you know, is, I wouldn't use the word joker, but I'm going to do it. He's the Joker of the Senate. As you know, I'm from the future. I can tell that guy does really bad things in 2020. It prevents, also, again, back to the First Amendment, guys. It prevents the government from creating or favoring a religion.
Let him sing Mariah Carey.
I yield my time to Mr. Boxer.
You have 24 seconds.
Go!
I think one of the issues that hasn't been addressed by the Republicans is women and guns. You see, as a proud independent woman in America, I think that the ownership of guns needs to be discussed among women. And I think that the constant referral to me as Mr. Boxer is, in fact, 100% incorrect. As I am, as I said, a proud independent woman in Congress. I think you're obscuring my gender by referring to me as such.
Thank you, Senator. Let it be known that we just witnessed the majority party filibuster in the Senate.
All right, Senators,